Hello, fellow crafters. This is Yana Smakula for SimonsSaysStamp.com. Welcome back for another Yippee for Yana video. I love to combine my new stamp sets with my all-time favorite old sets. And so in today's episode, I'm sharing a vacation time card featuring Simon's new Be a Mermaid stamp set. I did feature it in my last video, but I really adore this set. And I have so many ideas for using it, I can't put it down just yet. And I'm also using my older stamp sets from Simon, the Vacation Time set for the sentiment, and also the Tropical Leaves stamp set to help me set the scene. As you can see, I've already started working on my card, and I began by stamping the leaves from the Tropical Leaves stamp set using my mini MISTI stamping tool, and I'm stamping onto Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. I love the Tropical Leaves stamp set because it is a very simple set, yet it is a layering set, and I love myself a well-designed layering stamp set. I've picked two colors of ink, a light green and a dark green to stamp the leaves. The light green ink I'm using is Willow from Simon Says Stamp. Now, I don't always clean my stamps, so they often have residual ink on them. And so do these leaves. Many have been stamped in other shades of green the last time I used them, and so the green transfers onto the paper, giving me not a pure willow color on my paper. But I actually even like that. I quite like that, as that gives my leaves more color variation. I decided I would stamp a full letter sheet of these leaves. I had cut my letter sheet into 4 panels that measure 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches to fit inside my mini MISTI tool. I wasn't quite sure how many leaves I needed, so I figured I might as well stamp more and then save whatever's left for my future projects. Having stamped all 4 panels with these leaves using the Willow ink, I'm now removing the stamps that have a second layering layer to them. I'm keeping just those stamps that have 1 layer. Now, I'm doing this because I want to partially ink these up using a darker green color. In my case, this is Forever Green from Hero Arts. I'm partially inking the images, and because I didn't move my stamps, and because I'm using my MISTI tool, I can easily re-stamp the images in the same spot, adding additional interest to these leaves. Here's a comparison. On the left, the panel has additional stamping with dark color, and on the right, the panel features just single color stamping. The leaves on the left, of course, look more interesting and pleasing to the eye. I did this type of partial stamping on all of my panels, and next I used the second layer stamps for the layering leaves. I positioned those and stamped them in the same dark green, Forever Green ink from Hero Arts. So even though the leaves in this stamp set don't all have a second layer to add detail to them, you can still add detail to your solid images by partially inking them up with a darker color ink pad. It is easy to do, and it instantly adds interest. I used coordinating dies and cut all of these out in my die cutting machine. Next, I used the mermaid tail images from the new Be a Mermaid stamp set and stamped 4 tails in Simon's Intense Black ink on the same white cardstock. Now, my plan was to use a light blue cardstock panel, this is Mist from Hero Arts, and create a scene using the mermaid tails and tropical leaves. Here, I built a test panel using all of the images I made. Now, I didn't show this on camera, but I also stamped the same set of leaves using another color combination, green apple and key lime from Simon Says Stamp. I ended up not using those lighter color leaves on my cards, so I didn't show the making of them. But in case you're wondering what colors I used to stamp them, those are green apple and key lime from Simon. Now, the mermaid tails, of course, had to be colored. I used my YG93, YG95, and YG99 Copic markers to color them. I think this marker combo matches the Willow and Forever Green stamping really well. Now, I did simple coloring, going from light to medium to dark, and then to medium to light again, blending my colors together. I colored all of the mermaid tails, and next decided I needed to add interest in detail to make these images pop. I did that with the help of Tonic Studios Nuva Aqua Shimmer pens. I used 2 pens here, a glitter gloss pen, and a Midas Touch shimmer pen. I first applied the Midas Touch pen to the shadow areas and then blended the gold shimmer out using the Glimmer Gloss pen, giving my mermaid tails a gold and silver shimmer. Think of this as coloring and blending with your alcohol markers, but you're blending with shimmer pens instead. I also used a white pen, this is a Sakura pen, and added a white dot detail to these images. I debated coloring some of the scales on my mermaid tails completely white, but I actually was too chicken to try that. Maybe I'll try that some other time. Next, I stamped the sentiment that reads, "You deserve this, vacation time," in black ink on Hero Art's Mist cardstock. I really love the font used for the vacation time stamp. I think the size of it is also perfect. It easily takes center stage on the card and draws the eye of the viewer into the sentiment. I started to arrange the images, creating my scene. I decided I would only use 3 mermaid tails and arrange them as if they are swimming around the sentiment. So the blue panel is like water, a body of water, and then I have my mermaids swimming in that water. I used foam adhesive squares and foam mounted the tails in place, framing my sentiment in a way. Next, I was able to add the leaves, building my scene. Here, I used both liquid glue, I like to use Simon's Craft Tacky Glue, and also foam adhesive squares to keep building that dimension on my scene. I overlapped the leaves and mermaid tails quite a bit to create a cohesive scene. Any excess that was hanging off the panel was cut off, and I ended up adding a partial mermaid tail. It was a leftover from another die cut from that top tail, so I added that onto the top right-hand side corner of my panel. Next, to embellish this card, I once again used my white pen and added dots onto the blue background. I coated most of the dots with Nuvo drops in Sea Breeze and also added a bunch of various size bubbles onto the blue background, mimicking water bubbles. Now, I wanted to create flowers and add pops of color to this scene. And to do that, I used my Nuvo drops in pink and yellow. I used carnation pink and English mustard dots, and added various size dots in groups of 3 for the most part onto my card. You can stamp, color, and cut out actual flowers and add them to your scene, to the leaves, but I felt like using Nuvo drops was easier and it looked really fun as well. I love the way this card turned out and it wasn't hard to make. I hope you found this video useful and you are inspired to try and mix and match your old and new stamp sets. If you make a card inspired by this video, we'd love it if you shared your project online and tagged us on social media. We always enjoy seeing what you guys are making. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and to subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet done so. Thanks so much for joining me today. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.